chosen one. You feel it the moment you open your eyes today. Something in your spirit tightens, like heaven itself is whispering your name. November 23 is not just another date on a calendar, it is a doorway, a spiritual checkpoint, a moment where the unseen bends toward you. And as you stand here, suspended in this holy pause, you can feel the pull. Your breath slows, your heart sharpens. You know something is about to be revealed. You are not scrolling by accident. You are not hearing these words by coincidence. Heaven has pressed its finger against your timeline and said, "Stop. Listen. This one is for you, because you, chosen one, are standing on the edge of something that was written before you were born." And ignoring this moment, ignoring November 23, would cost you the blessing that has already begun moving toward your life. Every delay you have felt, every resistance you've battled, every strange heaviness in the past few days, it has all been pointing to this spiritual convergence. And deep inside, you know it. You can feel it in the places you don't talk about. You can sense it in the quiet moments when the world fades and the truth rises. Your destiny has been stirring. Heaven has been leaning in. Angels assigned to your life have been repositioning, waiting for your alignment. And now, the message comes to you clearly. Pay attention. Do not ignore this day. Because chosen one, you have already survived what was meant to break you. You have already walked through fires that should have destroyed you. And the fact that you are still here means you are marked, set apart, selected for something bigger than your past, bigger than your pain, bigger than anything the enemy tried to sabotage. This is why November 23 matters. It is a hinge moment, a turning point, a spiritual yes or no that determines what flows next. Listen carefully. Heaven is calling you to step into alertness, into awareness, into obedience. Every blessing has a window. Every breakthrough has a timing. And you are entering yours. You felt out of place for months. You felt the spiritual pressure increase, the tug of war inside your soul. You felt God warning you gently in dreams, in whispers, in random moments of conviction, not to scare you, but to position you, to wake you up, to align you. And today, heaven echoes a truth that ancient voices already declared. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. This word covers you now. This word anchors you now. This word marks you now, because you are not walking into November 23 alone. You are walking into it with divine backing, with supernatural covering, with angelic reinforcement. Your footsteps are guided. Your spirit is steadied. Your path is illuminated. Chosen one. Hear me, this is not the moment to drift, not the moment to procrastinate, not the moment to brush off the nudge in your spirit. This is the moment to rise into clarity. You know how many times you ignored warnings in the past and paid the price. You know how many times you felt something was off and dismissed it only to realize later that God was trying to save you. Not this time. Not this season. Not this date. Heaven is holding the blessing in place, waiting for your attention, waiting for your agreement. And November 23 becomes the moment you shift from wandering to walking with purpose. Before we move forward, chosen one, if this is speaking to your spirit, Pause for a moment. Like this message. Share it. Comment. And subscribe, so you never miss another word meant for your destiny. This is not just engagement, it is alignment. And now, if something in your heart is stirring, if this message feels like it was aimed straight at you, comment the number 777 as a prophetic sign that you hear heaven clearly and you are ready to step into the blessing prepared for you. You feel it before anything visible happens, the quiet shift in your inner atmosphere, the subtle stirring that tells you something is moving in the unseen. Chosen one. The air around your spirit has been different lately. Conversations feel heavier. Silence feels louder. Even your thoughts seem to echo with a meaning you can't fully explain yet. But you can sense that heaven is arranging something around you. This is not imagination. This is not emotional fluctuation. This is spiritual reality brushing against the edges of your awareness. You have walked with God long enough to recognize when something is shifting. You know the difference between random emotion and divine signaling. And what you're feeling now is a spiritual current turning in your direction. You can almost feel the veil thinning. The atmosphere around your life is responding to a command from heaven, a movement that has already begun. Even if your natural eyes have not caught up, this stirring is not meant to scare you, it's meant to alert you. Awakening always begins in the spirit before anything arrives in the physical, and for weeks, maybe even months. There have been moments where you paused in the middle of your day because you sensed something was off or something was coming. You felt the tug. You felt the pull. You felt the whisper you couldn't translate. That was God preparing you for what is unfolding now. Do not ignore these shifts. You may not always understand them, but your spirit does. Your spirit recognizes the move of God long before your mind can articulate it. And right now, heaven is drawing close, causing a holy tension to rise inside you. You don't know whether to be excited or cautious, but you know to pay attention. This is what divine alignment feels like: unexplainable, undeniable, unavoidable. Sometimes God stirs your atmosphere not to warn you of danger, but to position you for blessing. You begin to sense when a door is about to open. You begin to feel when an old chapter is losing its grip. You begin to notice when people are being moved out of your life or brought into it. All of these shifts are part of a larger orchestration. You are stepping into a sequence heaven has arranged. And because you are chosen, God will not let you be blindsided. He will disrupt your peace before he lets you miss your purpose. He will unsettle your spirit before he lets you settle for less. That is why you feel this stirring. It is heaven's way of saying, prepare yourself. Something is approaching. You may not know exactly what, but you know it carries weight. There's a reason the distractions that used to work no longer satisfy you. There's a reason the conversations you once tolerated now drain you. There's a reason your desires are changing. Your prayers are shifting. Your discernment is sharpening. Your spirit is shedding what cannot go with you into your next season. You are in transition, and the atmosphere around you reflects it. You might have noticed an increase in dreams, some vivid, some confusing, some strangely symbolic. Pay attention to them. Heaven often speaks when your mind is quiet enough to listen. You might have felt a rise in spiritual resistance lately. That is also a sign. The enemy senses movement too. Darkness always trembles when a chosen one approaches breakthrough. But fear not. Even in this stirring, even in the unseen motions around you, God is with you. The ancient words still speak assurance over your spirit. As the prophet Isaiah declared in the book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." As the prophet Isaiah declared in the book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." This is God waking up the parts of you that had gone numb. This is your destiny knocking from the inside. And the more attentive you become, the louder it grows. You are entering a time when heaven will highlight things you once overlooked. Tiny details will carry sudden meaning. Words, people say, will hit you differently. Opportunities will feel either aligned or instantly wrong. Your discernment will not whisper, it will speak loudly. You will feel guided, directed, and watched over in ways you cannot explain to others. And that is the part many will not understand. The spiritual atmosphere around you is shifting because you are shifting. Your spirit is stretching into a new season. Your purpose is rising. Your calling is awakening. And the unseen world responds to chosen ones who are stepping into divine timing. Do not fear the stirring. Do not resist the shift. Lean into it. Allow it to shape you. This is the energy beneath your stirring, renewed strength. Elevation. Spiritual ascent. God is not shaking your atmosphere to exhaust you. He is shaking it to lift you, to pull you out of smallness, to elevate your vision, to stretch your faith. You were never meant to stay where you've been. Your spirit knows this. That is why it refuses to be quiet. Do not misread this stirring as anxiety. Do not mislabel it as confusion. This is clarity beginning to form. You've felt it for a long time now, the weight of delay. It sits in your chest like a stone, pressing against your breath, reminding you of every moment you hesitated when your spirit told you to move. Chosen one, you know what it feels like to sense God nudging you forward while something inside you whispers, "Later, maybe tomorrow, maybe when I feel ready." But heaven is exposing this internal battle now, because delay is not just procrastination. Delay is spiritual resistance, wearing the mask of comfort. You've been standing at the edge of decisions that matter, and every time you pause for too long, the blessing inches a little further away. Not because God withdraws it, but because alignment requires action. Destiny does not unfold for the hesitant, it unfolds for the willing. You've asked yourself, why does it feel so heavy to obey this time? It is because the obedience required of you now has greater weight. You are not choosing between small things anymore. You are choosing between dimensions, between who you've been and who you are becoming. And the enemy knows that if he can convince a chosen one to delay, he doesn't need to make them disobey. He only needs to make them wait long enough for the blessing to pass by unclaimed. And the hardest truth, it steals more from chosen ones because your calling is heavier. Your mantle is stronger. Your impact is greater. The battles others walk through casually, you fight intensely. The decisions others make lightly, you feel in your spirit. That is why the weight of delay feels like spiritual tension inside your chest, because heaven is waiting for your yes, while darkness is hoping for your hesitation. But hear this, your delay is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of warfare. You are not lazy. You are under pressure. You are not confused. You are being pulled. You are not inconsistent. You are being fought. And yet, even in this tension, God speaks clarity. His word cuts through the fog like a blade of light. The Spirit spoke through the Apostle Paul in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ, who gives me strength. All things, including breaking the grip of delay. This stirring inside you isn't condemnation, it's invitation. Heaven is not scolding you. Heaven is shaking you awake. Because the longer you wait, the more the blessing hangs suspended, circling your life like a bird, looking for a place to land. Your obedience creates the landing place. And chosen one. You know exactly what God has been nudging you to do. The apology you've been avoiding, the step you've been postponing, the boundary you've been afraid to set, the project you started but never finished, the habit you've been called to break, the prayer you keep saying, you'll pray tomorrow. But destiny is not built on tomorrow. Destiny is built on today. Maybe the delay has been emotional. You've been waiting to feel ready. Maybe the delay has been spiritual. You've been hoping the conviction would pass. Maybe the delay has been practical. You've been waiting for the perfect moment. But nothing about your calling is built on perfect conditions. Everything about your calling is built on obedience in imperfect ones. And this is where heaven confronts you gently but firmly. The battle you are fighting right now is not against time, it is against resistance. The voice telling you to wait is not wisdom, it is warfare. The hesitation you keep feeling is not discernment, it is fear disguised as comfort. Your spirit knows better. That is why it has not been able to rest. That is why your thoughts keep circling the same decision. That is why the idea won't leave you alone. That is why you feel restless, even when nothing is wrong. That is why peace doesn't settle until you move. Because you are not meant to carry delay into your next season. God is pruning it out of you. He is strengthening your will. He is sharpening your instincts. He is training your obedience. You are being prepared for greater things that cannot coexist with hesitation. Sometimes it looks like a perfectly harmless activity that quietly steals the hours you were meant to invest into your purpose. The subtlety is what makes the trap dangerous. You don't realize how much energy you're losing until you feel spiritually drained. You don't realize how far you've drifted until you look back and see how much time has passed. The enemy is not trying to make you fall, he is trying to make you forget. Forget who you are. Forget what God said. Because what you put into words becomes what you permit in your life. And the moment you write it, you break something in the unseen. Delay has had its time. Now it is your turn. There are moments in your journey, chosen one, when the battle is not loud, not violent, not obvious. It comes softly, quietly, wrapped in comfort, disguised as harmless, wearing the face of something ordinary. This is the nature of the enemy's distraction trap. It never announces itself as warfare. It presents itself as convenience. It whispers, "This is fine, this can wait, this isn't serious." And before you realize it, your focus fractures, your purpose drifts, and the path ahead begins to blur. You have been experiencing this more than usual lately. Days that feel strangely empty, tasks that feel heavier than they should, sudden waves of laziness that don't match your spirit, unexpected emotions that pull you away from clarity, thoughts that spiral in circles instead of moving forward. None of this is accidental. Distraction is the enemy's tool of choice when he cannot defeat you in open battle. The enemy knows he cannot destroy a chosen one. He knows he cannot take your calling. He knows he cannot touch the anointing on your life. So instead, he aims for your attention, because whatever controls your focus eventually controls your direction. And if he can keep you distracted, he never needs to stop you. Your own delay will do that for him. But you are beginning to notice the pattern now. The way your mind drifts at the exact moments you need clarity. The way unnecessary problems appear right when you attempt to grow. The way old habits try to resurface when you make a new commitment. The way certain people show up only when you're about to make progress. Distraction doesn't always look like temptation. Sometimes it looks like busyness. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion. Sometimes it looks like overthinking. Your heart senses an invisible stillness, as if heaven has paused the noise around your life just long enough to whisper something meant only for you. This is what divine attention feels like. It's like stepping beneath a single beam of sunlight, piercing through thick clouds. The warmth hits you directly, intentionally, unmistakably. It does not land on everyone. It lands on you. Forget the path you're meant to walk. Forget the assignment on your life. But heaven exposes the trap before it can consume you. There is a reason your spirit has been restless. A reason you've felt the push to withdraw from certain conversations, step back from certain habits, and guard your attention more carefully. God is awakening your discernment, sharpening your awareness, showing you the difference between what feeds you and what drains you. And in these moments of exposure, His word lights the path with unshakable clarity, as the voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. This is not a call to inactivity. It is a call to focus, a command to anchor your attention on what truly matters, a reminder that you are not fighting alone. When distractions swirl, stillness becomes your weapon. When the enemy tries to scatter your thoughts, God calls you back to alignment. Stillness is not about silence, it is about direction. Stillness is not about doing nothing, it is about doing the right thing. Stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of purpose. You begin to recognize what aligns with your spirit and what does not. You begin to feel when something is pulling you away from the person you are becoming. You start to distinguish between God-sent opportunities and enemy-planted detours. And as your clarity sharpens, the trap loses its power. Distraction is only effective when you are unaware. Awareness breaks it. Intention breaks it. Focus breaks it. And you have reached the point in your journey where you can no longer afford to waste your attention on what does not contribute to your destiny. You were made to walk with purpose. You were made to move with vision. You were made to live with spiritual precision. And though the enemy may attempt to blur your focus, he cannot override the calling burning inside you. You are rising into a new level of awareness, one where you notice the traps before you step into them, one where you recognize the patterns before they pull you off course, one where you choose what strengthens your spirit over what entertains your flesh. This stirring inside you isn't condemnation, it's invitation. Heaven is not scolding you, heaven is shaking you awake. Because the longer you wait, the more the blessing hangs suspended, circling your life like a bird, looking for a place to land. Your obedience creates the landing place, and chosen one. You know exactly what God has been nudging you to do. The apology you've been avoiding, the step you've been postponing, the boundary you've been afraid to set. You will feel guided, directed, and watched over in ways you cannot explain to others. And that is the part many will not understand. The spiritual atmosphere around you is shifting because you are shifting. Your spirit is stretching into a new season. Your purpose is rising. Your calling is awakening. And the unseen world responds to chosen ones who are stepping into divine timing. Do not fear the stirring. Do not resist the shift. Lean into it. Allow it to shape you. Not because you earned it, not because you fought for it, but because God has chosen to highlight your life in this season. You may not see the angels arranging your path, but you can feel the alignment. You may not hear the instructions spoken in the heavenly realm, but you sense the urgency. You may not understand the timing, but your spirit recognizes that something sacred is happening. Heaven pauses for you when God is asking you to pay attention. Lately, you've experienced moments where everything around you feels strangely slowed, like the world is moving, but you are standing still. You've felt the pull to quiet your mind, to step away from the noise, to distance yourself from certain people or habits. That is God isolating your attention, not to make you lonely, but to make you focused, not to empty your life, but to create space for clarity. Heaven always clears a space before releasing a blessing. Right now, your life is like a canvas being wiped clean, so the next strokes can be painted with precision. God is not a careless artist. He does not scribble destiny with rushed hands. Before He paints new colors into your life, He makes sure nothing old will distort the picture. You may feel the brushstrokes of transition, but believe this: the masterpiece is already in progress. And in this sacred pause, His word speaks with authority that echoes through your spirit. As Jesus Himself declared in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 7, "Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you." This is not a suggestion. It is an invitation. Not a possibility, a promise. Not a whisper, a declaration. It means heaven is open. The door is active. God is listening. Your seeking is not in vain, and your knocking is not ignored. You are in a season where your spiritual gestures carry weight. Your heart senses an invisible stillness, as if heaven has paused the noise around your life just long enough to whisper something meant only for you. This is what divine attention feels like. It's like stepping beneath a single beam of sunlight, piercing through thick clouds. The warmth hits you directly, intentionally, unmistakably. It does not land on everyone. It lands on you. Your listening matters. Your attention matters. Because when heaven pauses, it pauses for a reason. If this space, these words, this message is helping you walk in clarity, if it's painting pictures your soul understands, if it's unlocking places your heart has kept guarded, then let it be a mutual exchange of honor. Support the message that supports your spirit. Share it so others, like you, can awaken. Like it so the light continues to move forward. Subscribe so your soul doesn't miss the next divine whisper that was meant for you. And if your heart feels led, donate, not out of pressure, but as a seed of gratitude, like watering the very ground that is helping you grow. Every seed you plant in good soil multiplies in ways far beyond what the eyes can see. Think of it like this: when you water a tree that gives you shade, you are investing in your own comfort. When you tend to a fire that warms your hands, you are preserving your own heat. When you support a message that elevates your spirit, you are strengthening the very foundation beneath your feet. But whether you give or share, or simply listen with an open heart, What matters most is that you remain present in this moment. Heaven is still speaking. Heaven is still guiding. Heaven is still aligning. The pause around your life is not emptiness. It is preparation. It is positioning. It is purpose settling into place. And as you step forward with awareness, you will begin to realize something extraordinary. Heaven pauses for those it is about to accelerate. You are one of them. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey when you can feel the ground beneath your feet shifting, not collapsing, not shaking in fear, but shifting in alignment. And right now, chosen one, you are standing in that quiet, trembling space between comfort and calling. You know what it feels like to be pulled in two directions at once. One side of you wants rest, familiarity, safety. The other side feels the fire of destiny pushing you forward with a force you can no longer ignore. This is the crossroads of obedience. It doesn't look dramatic. It rarely does. It often appears in the smallest choices, the ones no one else sees. But heaven sees them. Heaven weighs them. Heaven measures your direction, not by the size of your actions, but by the posture of your heart. And your heart knows you are being asked to rise. You feel it every time you wake up with that strange pressure behind your ribs. You feel it when you sense a nudge telling you to leave certain habits behind. You feel it when a whisper in your spirit says, "You can't stay here anymore." That whisper is the voice of God calling you out of comfort and into clarity. There is a weight to obedience that many never understand. People think obedience is about rules. It is not. Obedience is about alignment. It is about stepping into the version of yourself that heaven already sees. It is about matching your footsteps with God's intention. And right now, heaven is watching you with a fierce kind of love, because this decision matters more than you realize. You are not choosing between good and bad. You are choosing between familiar and destined, between who you were and who you are becoming. And the moment you choose obedience, the moment you align with heaven, doors that once resisted you begin to unlock. Blessings that felt far begin to move in your direction. Opportunities that seemed out of reach begin to respond to your name. But there is also resistance. Every chosen one feels it at the crossroads. The heaviness, the hesitation, the invisible tug pulling them backward. The enemy doesn't fight you when you're walking in circles. He fights you when you're walking in purpose. So the pressure you feel is not a sign that you're wrong. It's confirmation that you are close to breakthrough. You may feel like you are being stretched. That is good. Stretching is preparation. You may feel like you're being separated. That is good. Separation brings elevation. You may feel like something inside you is shedding. That is good. Shedding is transformation. You are not losing yourself. You are outgrowing who you used to be. And in this tender, decisive moment, the Word of God reaches into your spirit like a steady hand pulling you forward. As the ancient text reveals in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19, "I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live." This is the crossroads you stand in right now. Life or stagnation, blessing or delay, obedience or comfort. And heaven is urging you, choose life. Choose destiny. Choose the path that feels costly but leads to glory. You do not need every detail. You do not need the full map. You only need the courage to take the next step. God guides moving feet. He leads hearts that lean toward Him. He aligns lives that choose obedience even when fear whispers louder than faith. And chosen one, your spirit is stronger than your fear. Your calling is louder than your doubt. Your destiny is greater than your hesitation. You are not standing at this crossroads by accident. You were prepared for this moment. Every storm you survived shaped you. Every battle you endured strengthened you. Every season of silence deepened you. And now, all of heaven is watching to see what you choose. Not because they doubt you, but because they know who you truly are. Before we end this section, seal your decision in the spiritual realm, not with a long prayer, not with complicated words, just a simple act of agreement, like placing your hand on a door before opening it. Comment the number 444 as a declaration that you choose alignment. You choose obedience. You choose the path heaven has been pressing on your spirit. Write it boldly. Write it intentionally. Let it mark the moment your spirit stepped forward. Because once you move in obedience, nothing can stop what God is about to release into your life. There are signs, chosen one, subtle at first, then louder, then almost impossible to ignore, that begin to surround your days when heaven is trying to get your attention. These signs do not shout, but they persist. They linger in the corners of your awareness. They tug at your thoughts when you are quiet. They echo in your spirit long after the moment has passed. And all throughout this month, these signs have been repeating themselves around you, woven into your days like threads of divine intention. You've been noticing patterns that seem too precise to be random, a number that keeps appearing at the exact times your spirit feels unsettled, a repeating dream that leaves you with a weight you can't explain, a conversation where someone unknowingly confirms something you've been wrestling with privately, a sudden wave of intuition that feels stronger than logic, a moment of conviction that arrives with perfect timing. These are not coincidences, they are divine reminders. Heaven speaks through patterns because your spirit understands repetition, even when your mind tries to dismiss it. When the same sign keeps returning, it is God saying, "Pay attention. I am speaking." Oh, you've also noticed unusual shifts inside yourself, changes that don't match the circumstances around you. There are signs, chosen one, subtle at first, then louder, then almost impossible to ignore, that begin to surround your days when heaven is trying to get your attention. These signs do not shout, but they persist. They linger in the corners of your awareness. They tug at your thoughts when you are quiet. They echo in your spirit long after the moment has passed. And this month, your spirit has been acting like an alarm, alerting you to changes that are approaching, movements that are forming, doors that are preparing to open or close. God has been speaking in ways you once overlooked, through delays that frustrated you but protected you, through opportunities that didn't work out because they were too small for your future, through discomfort that pushed you out of stagnant places, through people who entered your life with purpose or left it with clarity. If you look closely, you will see the pattern. Heaven has been arranging your steps. Even in the places that felt confusing, nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been random. The signs have been guiding you, not teasing you. Some signs came through pressure, because pressure reveals what is shifting. Some signs came through peace, because peace reveals what is aligned. Some signs came through disruption. And this month, your spirit has been acting like an alarm, alerting you to changes that are approaching, movements that are forming, doors that are preparing to open or close. God has been speaking in ways you once overlooked, through delays that frustrated you but protected you, through opportunities that didn't work out because they were too small for your future, through discomfort that pushed you out of stagnant places. And now, standing here, you're beginning to understand they were guiding you toward alignment with something greater. Because when God repeats something, it means the timing is near. And in moments like these, His word becomes the anchor that brings all the pieces together, as revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 6. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight. This verse is not just instruction, it is confirmation. It means the signs are not random. It means the patterns are not accidental. It means your path is being straightened, guided, corrected, illuminated. And this month, God has been sending all four. He warned you when you were drifting. He instructed you when you needed clarity. He invited you when your heart softened. He confirmed what your spirit already suspected. Even your confusion was a sign showing you where your spirit and your surroundings were no longer in agreement. Even your tiredness was a sign showing you what no longer deserves your energy. Even your sudden bursts of clarity were signs showing you where heaven is trying to lead your steps. You are not imagining what you've been feeling. You are not overthinking the patterns. You are not reading too much into things. Chosen ones do not receive signs the way others do, because chosen ones are called to deeper awareness. You were built to sense what others overlook. You were created with spiritual sensitivity for a reason. Your discernment is a gift, not a burden. And the signs of this month have been preparing you for a moment of unfolding, a moment of revelation, a moment where everything God has been signaling finally begins to make sense. You are seeing clearly now because heaven has been preparing your eyes. You are hearing deeply now because heaven has been tuning your spirit. You are understanding the signs now because heaven has been guiding your steps. And the path ahead is beginning to reveal itself. There is a moment, chosen one, when the blessing God has prepared for you begins to move quietly, invisibly. Like a shift in the wind you can feel on your skin but cannot yet see with your eyes. And right now, that is exactly what is happening around your life. Something is coming toward you. Something heaven has released. Something already in motion. You may not see it, but you can sense it. Like footsteps approaching from behind a closed door. A blessing in transit has a certain spiritual weight to it. You feel anticipation without knowing why. You feel a pull toward preparation, even though nothing has changed yet. You feel the need to clean up areas of your life, organize your thoughts, sharpen your focus, because your spirit knows something is drawing near. This month, you've caught glimpses of it. Moments where your heart felt lighter for no reason. Moments when clarity flashed through your mind like lightning. Moments where you suddenly believed again in a future you once gave up on. These were not emotional shifts, they were echoes of what is coming. When a blessing is in transit, heaven begins rearranging your environment. People you thought would stay suddenly step back. Distractions lose their grip. What once satisfied you begins to feel small. You start craving depth, alignment, purpose. This is not you changing randomly. This is heaven making room. Imagine a river widening its banks before the rain arrives. That is what your spirit has been doing. The blessing that is coming carries weight, and your life is being shaped to hold it. It wasn't rejection, it was protection. God will never let a blessing arrive in a place that cannot sustain it. So before the blessing reaches your hands, He strengthens your character, stretches your faith, and deepens your roots. The preparation is proof of the promise. When heaven sends something toward you, everything in your life begins to shift to match what is coming. That is why your desires have changed. That is why you've outgrown certain friendships. That is why old wounds have resurfaced, not to hurt you, but to heal you so they can no longer block what God is sending. A blessing in transit brings exposure, not to shame you, but to free you. God surfaces anything that could sabotage the next level so that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to steward it well. And often, the blessing moves closest during the moments you feel the most stretched. The pressure you've been under is not a sign of abandonment, it is a sign of proximity. The enemy fights hardest when heaven sends something heavy. Pressure is the shadow of blessing. This is why the past weeks have felt intense. The internal battles, the emotional waves, the unexpected resistance, the spiritual sensitivity, the strange heaviness followed by strange peace. All of it is part of the transit process. What is coming requires space, and heaven is clearing the path. God does not send small blessings to chosen ones. He sends blessings that shift generations, blessings that rewrite identity, blessings that break cycles, blessings that reveal destiny. And these kinds of blessings do not travel quietly. They shake the atmosphere as they approach. Even now, heaven speaks assurance over your spirit. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. This is exactly how blessings move unseen before they are undeniable, hidden before they are revealed, felt before they are manifested. You are walking in a faith window right now, where you sense the shift but cannot yet touch it. When a blessing is in transit, God works the hardest behind the scenes. He aligns the right people at the right time. He opens doors in rooms you haven't entered yet. He speaks your name in conversations you're not present for. He prepares opportunities customized to your growth. You are not waiting for the blessing is on its way to you. And when it arrives, it will not be small, subtle, or shallow. It will be undeniable. It will make sense of every battle you fought, every tear you cried, every door that closed, every season that felt empty. You will look back and say, "This is why nothing else worked. This is what heaven was preparing me for." Oh, blessings in transit require patience, but not passive patience. It is the patience of someone who knows a package has been shipped to their house. They don't question if it will arrive. They only wait for the moment it reaches their door. Your blessing is not lost. Not delayed. Not denied. There is a reason. Chosen one. That the closer you move toward alignment, the more resistance you feel rising around you. It is not because you are weak. It is not because you are confused. It is not because you are failing. It is because your light has begun to disturb the places where darkness once felt safe around you. Your growth threatens what used to control you. Your clarity disrupts the shadows that once whispered to your insecurity. And your awakening is shaking the spiritual atmosphere in ways you cannot yet see. You've noticed it recently, the tension that seems to appear out of nowhere, old temptations resurfacing, random discouragement hitting you at strange hours. unexpected conflict with people you love, emotional heaviness that doesn't match your circumstances. These are not random interruptions. These are signs that you are stirring the spiritual waters around you. Darkness is uncomfortable when a chosen one begins to stand in their identity. You may think your progress is small, but the enemy sees it differently. Every moment of prayer that felt dry to you was a roar in the spiritual realm. Every boundary you set was a weapon. Every time you chose peace instead of chaos, heaven moved. Every time you refused to go backward, something in darkness broke, and darkness is reacting. You are not imagining the pushback. You are not imagining the internal pressure. You are not imagining the sudden battles that seem random and illogical. When your light intensifies, everything that once relied on your confusion begins to panic. Your clarity is dangerous. Your awakening is a threat. Your obedience is a weapon. There is a reason the attacks feel personal, because your calling is personal. The enemy does not fight those who are harmless. He fights those who are becoming powerful. He fights those who are stepping into their assignment. He fights those who carry something heaven sent. You have always felt different. Even when you tried not to be, you have always sensed more. Even when others didn't understand, you have always walked with a different kind of awareness. That sensitivity was not weakness, it was calling. And now, that calling is rising with force. The battles around you are rising because the light within you is rising. Think of it like this. When a lantern grows brighter in a dark room, the shadows don't disappear silently, they shrink back violently. The shifting you feel is simply the atmosphere adjusting to the new power you carry. And in this moment of rising tension, the ancient words of Scripture speak courage into your spirit. The prophet Jeremiah spoke as recorded in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 19. They will fight against you, but they will not overcome you, for I am with you to deliver you, declares the Lord. This is your confirmation. Yes, they will fight. Yes, resistance will rise. Yes, warfare will intensify. But no, nothing formed against you will prevail, because the one who called you stands beside you, behind you, within you. You are not fighting alone. You never were. And that is why darkness trembles, because it is not just you who is rising. It is the God within you. You may feel the pressure, but pressure is proof. You may feel the heat, but heat is refining. You may feel the weight, but weight is strengthening. Every chosen one goes through this phase, the moment where the resistance increases, not because you're failing, but because you're growing. And heaven wants you to understand this clearly. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are advancing. Your spiritual muscles are being stretched. Your discernment is being sharpened. Your courage is being activated. You are stepping into a new level of authority, and darkness cannot remain comfortable in your presence anymore. And now, to mark this moment, to anchor it in your spirit, I want you to write something simple, something under 4 words. A declaration that aligns you with the truth of who you are. Comment, I stand firm. Write it not as a reaction to fear, but as a proclamation of identity. Write it not because you feel strong, but because you are strong. Write it not to inform darkness, but to remind yourself that you were built for this. When you declare it, you're not just typing, you're stepping, you're aligning, you're claiming ground. And the more your light rises, the more unstoppable you become. There are moments in your journey, chosen one, when heaven does not shout, heaven whispers. A whisper that reaches deeper than a roar. A whisper that does not shake the room but shakes you. And lately, you've been feeling that whisper tugging at your spirit, not condemning you, not shaming you, but gently correcting the places where your alignment has drifted. This is heaven's whisper of correction. It comes like the soft tap of a shepherd's staff against the side of a wandering sheep, not to wound, but to redirect, not to punish, but to protect. God does not correct you because he is disappointed. He corrects you because he is deeply invested in where you are going. Correction is the compass of the chosen. You felt it in the quiet moments, those sudden realizations that a habit is no longer harmless, that a conversation is no longer healthy, that a mindset you once embraced now feels heavy. These shifts are not random, they are recalibrations. Heaven is fine-tuning you. The way a musician tunes an instrument before a concert, not because the instrument is broken, but because it must sound its best for what is coming. There are parts of you God is purifying, parts he is polishing, parts he is strengthening, not to diminish you, but to prepare you. Think of a diamond buried deep within stone. Before it shines, it must be cut. Before it sparkles, it must be shaped. Before it reflects light, it must endure the pressure that reveals its beauty. That is the season you're in now, God shaping the inner places of your heart, so the outer blessings do not break you when they arrive. Correction is not rejection. It is refinement. Sometimes God pulls you back the way an archer pulls back an arrow, not to restrain you, but to position you for distance, impact, and precision. The tension is intentional. The pressure is purposeful. You are being prepared to fly farther than you ever have before. And in this sacred process, His word becomes the lamp that exposes what needs to be released. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1, I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what he will say to me. This is the posture heaven is calling you into, a posture of listening, a posture of watching, a posture of openness. Because God is not simply correcting actions, He is correcting direction. He is redirecting your steps so they align with the promised path. He is revealing blind spots that would have slowed you down. He is illuminating attitudes that no longer match your calling. He is shifting your desires so they support your destiny. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. And in moments like these, when God draws close to refine you, it is important to respond with softness, not resistance. Correction is not meant to crush you, but to clear you, to clear the fog from your mind, to clear the weight from your heart, to clear the path in front of you. You've already begun to feel this clearing, the sudden urge to declutter your life inside and out, the need to distance yourself from certain voices, the desire to reset your patterns, the quiet conviction that nudges you into better choices. These are all signs that heaven is tuning your spirit. And as this message walks with you through this inner transformation, if you feel supported, if your spirit feels seen, guided, strengthened, then consider supporting this space in return. Like this message, to help it reach another soul who needs clarity. Share it as a seed of light. Subscribe so you don't miss the next whisper heaven sends your way. And if your heart feels led, You can donate not out of pressure, but the same way someone adds wood to a fire that's warming them, as an act of gratitude for what is feeding their spirit. Every form of support, whether big or small, becomes a way of saying, "This matters to me. This is helping me grow." And growth always expands when nurtured. But above all else, chosen one, embrace this season of refinement. Allow the whisper to guide you. Allow the light to expose what needs adjusting. Allow the shaping to continue. Because every correction you embrace becomes a key that unlocks clarity, a key that frees your steps, a key that accelerates your blessing. You are being refined because you are being prepared, not for a small blessing, not for an ordinary season, but for a destiny too great to carry unshaped. There are lessons, chosen one, that carve themselves into your spirit, not through ease, but through consequence. And one of the deepest lessons you've carried through the years is what happens when the nudges of God go ignored. Not because you were rebellious, not because you didn't care, but because you didn't yet understand the cost of inaction. You didn't yet realize that spiritual neglect doesn't just pause your growth, it slows the movement of everything connected to your destiny. You've walked through seasons where you felt lost, not because God abandoned you, but because you drifted from the place where His voice was clearest. You've tasted the frustration of delayed blessings, the confusion of wrong turns, the heaviness of doors that refused to open, not because they weren't meant for you, but because you weren't spiritually aligned when the timing came. Looking back, you can see the pattern now. Moments where God whispered, and you hesitated. Moments where He nudged, and you postponed. Moments where He warned, and you dismissed it as emotion. And each time, the consequence wasn't punishment, it was silence. Spiritual clarity dimmed. Momentum slowed. Opportunities slipped through your fingers like water you couldn't hold on to. Not because God withdrew His promise, but because your spirit wasn't positioned to receive it. The cost of ignoring divine nudges is subtle, yet heavy. It looks like confusion where there should be peace. It looks like stagnation where there should be movement. It looks like unnecessary battles where there should be ease. It looks like emotional turmoil where there should be inner strength. But the greatest cost isn't external, it's internal. Every ignored nudge makes your spirit a little duller. Every postponed conviction makes discernment a little quieter. Every delayed obedience makes the path a little dimmer. Until one day, you wake up knowing you've drifted. Not because a single moment pulled you away, but because many small hesitations added up over time. And yet, despite the missteps, despite the delays, despite the moments you wish you could redo, God has never stopped calling you back. His corrections were invitations. His silence was a signal. His absence of ease was a reminder. Return. Realign. Listen again. Awfully, you have felt that call more strongly in this season than ever before. Not in fear, but in longing. Your spirit desires alignment now. You crave clarity more than comfort. You hunger for direction more than distraction. You've reached the point where peace matters more than pleasure. Purpose matters more than approval. And obedience matters more than convenience. This shift is proof that your heart has matured. Where once you overlooked warnings, now you feel them immediately. Where once you brushed off conviction, now you pause and listen. Where once you waited too long, now you sense the urgency. Heaven has trained your awareness through experience not to shame you, but to strengthen you. The delays you lived through have become teachers. The consequences have become wisdom. What once confused you now awakens you. And in this moment of reflection, the ancient scriptures offer a sobering yet empowering reminder. The Apostle Paul wrote in the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 15, "Be very careful, then, how you live, not as unwise, but as wise." This is the posture heaven is restoring in you. Wisdom, not drifting. Discernment, not guessing. Alignment, not confusion. You are becoming the kind of person who moves when God speaks, not when it's convenient, not when everything makes sense, but when your spirit recognizes His voice, because you have learned that delayed obedience costs more than immediate surrender. You've learned that you lose time, peace, clarity, and opportunities when you ignore what your spirit already knows. You've learned that drifting is expensive and alignment is priceless. And yet, even in your moments of delay, God never abandoned your destiny. He simply held space for your return. He guarded the blessing until you were ready. He protected what was meant for you, even when you weren't positioned to receive it. That's the mercy of God. He waits. He restores. He realigns. He redeems time you thought was wasted. And now, you are stepping into a new chapter with eyes that see more clearly and a spirit that listens more sharply. You no longer move casually. You no longer take nudges lightly. You no longer treat conviction as inconvenience. You've learned the cost, and the lesson has become part of your strength. You are not who you were. You are wiser. You are more awakened. You are spiritually alert. And heaven is ready to move with you again. There are moments in your journey, chosen one, when something shifts quietly, almost imperceptibly, and suddenly a doorway you never noticed before begins to reveal itself. Not a physical door, but a spiritual one, a hidden passage that was always meant for you, yet remained unseen until your spirit matured enough to recognize it. And now, after all the growth, the stretching, the tears, the battles, the awakenings, you are finally standing before that unseen doorway. It doesn't announce itself with noise. It doesn't burst open with force. Instead, it appears the way dawn appears, soft at first. A gentle glow rising at the edge of your understanding. You begin to sense possibilities you never imagined. You start to feel guidance in places that once felt confusing. You notice paths forming where you once only saw walls. Heaven doesn't open every door loudly. Some open quietly, so only the attentive will notice. And you, chosen one, have become attentive. Your spirit has sharpened. Your discernment has deepened. Your awareness has awakened. The fog that once blurred your vision is lifting, and you're seeing connections, meanings, and opportunities with new clarity. This is not coincidence. This is divine unveiling. Hidden doorways appear only when a chosen one is ready to walk through them. This entire month has been preparing you for this moment. The signs you couldn't fully interpret, the shifts in your desires, the sudden release from old patterns, the inexplicable peace after emotional storms. All of these were indicators that heaven was preparing to reveal something new. Hidden doorways are never placed in front of the unprepared. They are invitations to those who have endured. They open for those who have grown. They reveal themselves to those who have remained faithful even when they didn't understand the process. For years, You have been walking through hallways of struggle, endurance, and stretching. But now, a new path, one that was concealed, has come into view. You feel the pull of it. The way your heart leans towards something unfamiliar yet strangely right. The way your spirit whispers, "There's more. Keep going." Oh, this is heaven's way of saying, a season is ending. A season is beginning. And the door between them is now open. Sometimes the hidden doorway is a new opportunity. It doesn't announce itself with noise. It doesn't burst open with force. Instead, it appears the way dawn appears, soft at first. A gentle glow rising at the edge of your understanding. You begin to sense possibilities you never imagined. You start to feel guidance in places that once felt confusing. You notice paths forming where you once only saw walls. Heaven doesn't open every door loudly. Some open quietly, so only the attentive will notice. And you, chosen one, have become attentive. And as you stand before this unseen threshold, Scripture speaks into your spirit like a guiding torch. The ancient words recorded in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. This is the promise that greets you at the doorway. The reassurance that nothing, absolutely nothing you endured was wasted. The mistakes, the delays, the heartbreaks, the confusion, the setbacks, all of it was shaping you so that you could recognize this moment when it arrived. Hidden doors are timed with precision. They open when your heart is ready, your fear is quieter, your faith is stronger, your identity is clearer, and you are finally able to receive what God has been waiting to give. There is something profoundly beautiful about this kind of divine timing. When the door opens, you realize that the path you once feared was never meant to break you. It was meant to prepare you. You see that the places you thought were dead ends were actually rerouting you to something better. You begin to understand that every pause, every redirection, every wait was a form of protection. You may not know exactly what is on the other side of this doorway yet, but your spirit already senses it is right. You feel the peace of it. You feel the gravity of it. You feel the promise of it. And now, to mark this moment, to acknowledge that you see what heaven is revealing, to affirm that you're stepping into alignment, I want you to leave a number as a prophetic act. Not a long sentence, not a complicated declaration, just a number that marks your recognition of this doorway. Comment the number 555 as a sign that you see the door. You feel the shift, and you are ready to step into what heaven has been preparing for you. This small act becomes a spiritual yes. Now, a way of saying, I recognize the moment. I won't miss the door. Now, because once a hidden doorway opens, chosen one, it leads you exactly where you were always meant to go. There comes a time in every chosen one's journey when heaven places something on your shoulders that you did not ask for, yet somehow were born to carry. It is not a burden, though it may feel heavy. It is not a punishment, though it may require sacrifice. It is a mantle, an assignment, a calling, a spiritual weight that marks you as one who has been set apart. And now, chosen one, that mantle is being placed on you. You may not feel ready. You may not feel qualified. You may not feel equipped. But heaven does not choose the prepared. Heaven prepares the chosen. And everything you have walked through, everything you have survived, Everything that has tried to break you has only confirmed what heaven already knew. You were designed to carry something greater than the average soul. A mantle is not given to the comfortable. It is given to the resilient. It rests on those who have walked through fire and come out refined. It rests on those who have felt the pressure but refused to collapse. It rests on those who have endured storms that would have drowned others. You are not stepping into this mantle randomly. You were shaped for it. The strength you gained in private, the tears you cried in silence, the battles you fought without applause, those were your training grounds. Heaven saw what others overlooked. Heaven heard what others ignored. Heaven noticed your perseverance, your purity of heart, your refusal to quit, even when quitting seemed easier. And now, the mantle descends. You may wonder, why me? Why now? Why this? Because the season requires someone with your depth. Because the generation needs someone with your resilience. Because the path ahead demands someone with your sensitivity to the voice of God. A mantle is not just a calling, it is a responsibility. It shifts how you think, how you move, how you pray, how you react. It requires you to rise into a higher version of yourself, one that honors the assignment rather than the comfort of the moment. There is a seriousness in your spirit now that was not there years ago. There is a clarity in your discernment that you did not always possess. There is a steadiness in your decisions that only comes from spiritual maturity. These changes are not accidental. Sometimes it is a new mindset. Sometimes it is a new relationship or a new level of purpose. Sometimes it is a release from what once chained you, whatever shape it takes. It always leads upward. Sometimes it is a new mindset. Sometimes it is a new relationship or a new level of purpose. Sometimes it is a release from what once chained you, whatever shape it takes. It always leads upward. You have been prepared for leadership, not necessarily the kind the world applauds, but the kind heaven honors. Leadership that looks like compassion. Leadership that looks like intercession. Leadership that looks like spiritual sensitivity. Leadership that looks like standing strong when others bend. The mantle on your life will require solitude at times. It will require silence. It will require surrender. It will require depth. You have been prepared for leadership, not necessarily the kind the world applauds, but the kind heaven honors. Leadership that looks like compassion. Leadership that looks like intercession. Leadership that looks like spiritual sensitivity. Leadership that looks like standing strong when others bend. The mantle on your life will require solitude at times. It will require silence. It will require surrender. It will require depth. They are evidence that the mantle is settling upon your life. And when heaven places a mantle, it always accompanies it with a word that strengthens the soul. As spoken in the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2, verse 9. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His marvelous light. This verse is not merely encouragement, it is identity. You are walking in mantle, chosen one. Heaven is not asking you to be ready. Heaven is asking you to be willing. Because once you accept what has been placed upon your life, everything in your world will shift to accommodate your assignment. You were chosen for this. You were shaped for this. You were destined for this. And the mantle fits you more than you know. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey when you come face to face with the final barrier, not an external enemy, not a circumstance, not a person, but an inner chain that has been quietly shaping your decisions for years. This chain is subtle. It hides behind habits, thoughts, fears, and patterns that feel familiar but are secretly limiting. And now, chosen one, you are standing at the point where God is calling you to break that final chain. It is not the heaviest chain you've carried. It is not the loudest one. It is the most deeply rooted one, the chain woven into your identity. The chain tied to old versions of yourself. The chain that once protected you, but now confines you. Every chosen one has one, and heaven never allows a new season to begin until the final chain is confronted. This inner chain might look like fear of failure, or fear of success, or fear of abandonment, or fear of being seen, or fear of repeating old wounds. It might look like self-doubt disguised as humility. It might look like overthinking disguised as caution. It might look like isolation disguised as independence. It might look like perfectionism disguised as excellence. You have broken many chains already. You have grown. You have healed. You have overcome things that once held you in deep captivity. But there is one more, one final barrier between who you've been and who you are becoming. You can feel it. It is not the loudest one. It is the most deeply rooted one, the chain woven into your identity. The chain tied to old versions of yourself. The chain that once protected you, but now confines you. Every chosen one has one, and heaven never allows a new season to begin until the final chain is confronted. This inner chain might look like fear of failure, or fear of success, or fear of abandonment, or fear of being seen, or fear of repeating old wounds. You feel the pull of destiny, but something inside hesitates. You feel ready, yet you don't feel fully released. This is not confusion, it is spiritual transition. Before a butterfly emerges, the cocoon tightens. Before dawn breaks, darkness deepens. Before chains break, they rattle the loudest. What you are feeling is not failure, it is the final phase of freedom. The enemy doesn't fear the battles you've already overcome. He fears the version of you that emerges once this last chain snaps, because that version of you is unstoppable. That version carries authority. That version carries clarity. That version carries unshakable identity. And heaven is ready for you to step into that version. Your entire journey has been preparing you for this moment. The healing, the tears, the awakening, the alignment, the pruning, all of it has been guiding you toward this final breakthrough. And in this defining moment, Scripture speaks with fierce reassurance, as declared in the book of John, chapter 8, verse 36. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. Free indeed. Not partially free. Not temporarily free, not emotionally free, but spiritually bound. Not mentally free, but behaviorally trapped. Free completely. This is the freedom heaven is leading you into. A freedom that doesn't just change your behavior, it changes your identity. Your internal world is being transformed. Your external world is being prepared. The people connected to your destiny will begin to appear. The opportunities aligned with your calling will begin to open. The clarity that once felt distant will begin to settle into your spirit like a steady flame. You are stepping into a season where your life will no longer make sense to those who view you through old lenses. But that is because you are not walking in old identity anymore. Your internal world is being transformed. Your external world is being prepared. The people connected to your destiny will begin to appear. The opportunities aligned with your calling will begin to open. The clarity that once felt distant will begin to settle into your spirit like a steady flame. You are stepping into a season where your life will no longer make sense to those who view you through old lenses. But that is because you are not walking in old identity anymore. It breaks when you choose movement over hesitation. It breaks when you step into the unknown with faith instead of waiting for comfort. Chains don't break because you feel strong. They break because you are willing. And you, chosen one, are ready. Ready to rise. Ready to shed what no longer belongs to your destiny. Ready to take hold of the life heaven has prepared for you. The final chain will not survive the version of you that is emerging. There are moments in your journey, chosen one, when something shifts quietly, almost imperceptibly and suddenly, a doorway you never noticed before begins to reveal itself. Not a physical door, but a spiritual one, a hidden passage that was always meant for you, yet remained unseen until your spirit matured enough to recognize it. And now, after all the growth, the stretching, the tears, the battles, the awakenings, you are finally standing before that unseen doorway. The sense that you are being summoned, the sense that you are being positioned, the sense that heaven has been preparing something that now requires your participation. This is not imagination. This is not emotional intensity. This is alignment. Rising into your appointed moment feels like standing on a mountain ridge at dawn. The world is still half-shadowed, half-lit, but the sky ahead is brightening. You can feel the warmth approaching even before the sun breaks the horizon. You feel the pull of destiny. But something inside hesitates. You feel ready, yet you don't feel fully released. This is not confusion, it is spiritual transition. Before a butterfly emerges, the cocoon tightens. Before dawn breaks, darkness deepens. Before chains break, they rattle the loudest. What you are feeling is not failure. It is the final phase of freedom. The enemy doesn't fear the battles you've already overcome. You didn't rise because life was easy. You rose because grace held you up when nothing else could, and now heaven calls you higher. Rising into your appointed moment means stepping into responsibility, into clarity, into purpose, into conversations you once avoided, into tasks you once postponed, into spaces you once feared entering. It means your spirit finally stands tall inside you, refusing to shrink anymore. This rise does not look like pride, it looks like obedience. It does not look like ego, it looks like surrender. It does not look like self-promotion, it looks like divine timing. You are not forcing a season to begin. You are responding to one that has already arrived. Even now, the Word of God confirms what your spirit already knows. As written in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest, if we do not give up. As written in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest, if we do not give up. As written in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time, we will reap a harvest. If we do not give up, it always returns. It always multiplies. And yet, even if you never give a penny, your presence, your listening, your growth still matter deeply. What is most important is that your heart stays open, your spirit remains awake, and your steps stay aligned with the whisper of heaven. Because this rise, this moment, this calling, it will ask things of you. You will need courage when fear tries to return. You will need discipline when distractions whisper. You will need patience when timing stretches you. You will need faith when the path darkens. But you are ready. You are rising into a version of yourself that is no longer governed by insecurity, no longer held by hesitation, no longer silenced by doubt, no longer limited by fear. You are rising into purpose. And as you do, the spiritual realm shifts around you. Doors open, opportunities appear, connections align. The right people find you, the wrong people fall away. This is what happens when a chosen one steps into their appointed place. The entire atmosphere rearranges to support them. So let this moment sink into you deeply. You are not small. You are not late. You are not unprepared. You are rising, and this rise will carry you into rooms you once feared, into conversations you once avoided, into callings you once doubted you could carry, not because you are perfect, but because you are chosen. Before moving on, take one final step to anchor your rise in the natural realm. Leave a comment, a thought, a reflection, a line from your heart. Let your voice mark the moment. Let your words stand as a declaration that you feel the rise, you sense the shift, and you are stepping into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Your rise has begun. There are seasons. Chosen one, when what God has been preparing for you finally begins to take shape before your eyes. Not all at once, not in a dramatic explosion of miracles, but in a steady unfolding, like watching a flower bloom in slow motion, each petal revealing what was always hidden inside. This is the season you are stepping into now. The blessing once distant, once whispered, once longed for, is beginning to unveil itself in your life. You may feel it already, an unusual calm settling over you, a sense of confidence rising from a place you didn't know existed. Not arrogance, not ambition, just certainty. A deep, quiet knowing that what you have prayed for is no longer on the way, it is arriving. Blessings do not always enter your life with noise. Many times, they slip in gently, almost unnoticed, until one day you look around and realize everything has shifted. The storms don't hit the same. The fears that used to paralyze you no longer speak as loudly. The confusion that clouded your mind begins to fade. The doors that were sealed shut begin to loosen. This is what it feels like when heaven unveils a blessing. It is not the sudden removal of all problems. It is the rising of clarity above the noise. It is the way your spirit begins to stand taller. Even if your circumstances have not fully changed yet, it is the way peace begins to settle into your bones, peace that cannot be explained, only carried. Because blessings don't simply show up in your life, they first show up in you. Before God opens a door around you, He opens a door inside you. Before He releases the blessing into your hands, He releases the strength, the wisdom, the maturity to hold it. That inner shift is the first sign that something greater is on the horizon. This is the soil in which blessings land safely. The blessing you're stepping into is not random, it is intentional. It is something God prepared long ago, something heaven guarded, something your spirit has been growing toward. The waiting wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The delay wasn't denial, it was development. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was alignment. And as the blessing unveils itself, Scripture lights the moment with profound truth, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This blessing, chosen one, is the evidence of what your spirit believed long before your eyes could see it. You carried faith when you had no proof. You held on when you had nothing to hold. You kept walking even when the path disappeared beneath your feet. That faith is now taking form. The blessing may not look exactly like what you envisioned, but it will feel like what God promised. It will bring restoration to places you thought were permanently broken. It will bring clarity to questions that have haunted you for years. It will bring opportunities that align perfectly with who you have become. And here is the beauty of it. You will not have to force this blessing. You will not have to chase it. You will not have to manipulate your way into it. It will meet you. Because when God unveils a blessing, it carries your name. No one else can take it. No enemy can intercept it. No delay can derail it. It comes to you with precision, with intention, with divine timing. This unveiling is not just about receiving it, is about becoming someone who no longer questions their worth, becoming someone who walks with quiet authority, becoming someone who recognizes their path, becoming someone who partners with heaven instead of fighting the process. The blessing is not the end, it is the beginning. It is the start of a new chapter, a higher level, a deeper calling. You are not receiving the blessing just to enjoy it, though you will. You are receiving it because it is connected to your purpose. It will elevate you. It will stretch you. It will activate you. It will align you with what is coming next. Because heaven never gives randomly, heaven gives strategically, and the blessing unveiling before you now carries both sweetness and assignment. It carries joy, but also responsibility. It carries fulfillment, but also forward movement. It carries beauty, but also purpose. You are stepping into a moment where everything begins to make sense, not all at once, but piece by piece, revelation by revelation, breakthrough by breakthrough. What once felt impossible is becoming reachable. What once felt distant is drawing closer. What once felt unclear is coming into focus. Your blessing is unveiling itself. Chosen one, not by force, not by striving, but by divine timing, finally meeting your readiness. There comes a moment, chosen one, when a season completes its circle not by ending, but by transforming. You stand now at the threshold of what comes after November 23, not as who you were at the beginning of this journey, but as someone refined, awakened, strengthened, and spiritually sharpened. The days ahead are not a return to the familiar. They are an entrance into a new rhythm, one formed by alignment rather than confusion, by clarity rather than hesitation, by obedience rather than delay. You are walking forward with new eyes, eyes that see patterns you once overlooked, eyes that recognize divine timing rather than fighting it, eyes that can sense spiritual shifts before they become visible. Everything about you has quietly changed. Your discernment, your confidence, your spiritual posture, your inner voice. You are not stepping forward as someone waiting for direction. You are stepping forward as someone who carries direction. November 23 was not a date. It was a doorway, a spiritual checkpoint, an activation point where heaven aligned your awareness with your assignment. And now that you've walked through it, you are carrying a new sense of purpose into every day that follows. You will notice it in your decisions. You will notice it in your conversations. You will notice it in the way peace follows you like a shadow. You will notice it in the way anxiety loosens its grip. You will notice it in the way clarity comes more quickly. Your spirit has expanded, and the world around you must adjust to the new strength you carry. Walking forward after this moment means understanding that your path will not feel the same. You will sense danger sooner. You will feel misalignment faster. You will recognize distractions instantly. It won't take you weeks to see what heaven is revealing. You will see it immediately. You have entered a season where God will highlight your steps more clearly than before. But with this clarity comes responsibility, the kind of responsibility that chosen ones carry with quiet dignity. You are not being watched by heaven with pressure or expectation, but with anticipation. You will find that the right opportunities will find you more easily now because your spirit is finally tuned to receive them. Old cycles that once returned again and again will begin to dissolve. Old insecurities will lose their authority. Old wounds will begin to close. Old temptations will lose their appeal. This is what happens when alignment replaces confusion. This is what happens when obedience replaces wandering. This is what happens when spiritual maturity takes root. And Scripture speaks into this new season with strength and promise, as written in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. You have stood the test. You have endured the pressure. You have walked through the valley. You have survived the stretching. You have embraced the refining. And now, you walk forward crowned not with pride, but with purpose, not with ego, but with endurance, not with entitlement, but with understanding. This crown is not a physical object, it is a spiritual mark, a sign that you have crossed a threshold in identity and awareness. You are no longer living as the wounded version of yourself. You are no longer trying to fit into places that were never designed to carry your calling. You are no longer minimizing your light to make others comfortable. You carry yourself differently now. You speak differently. You think differently. You pray differently. You walk differently. Your future responds to you differently. Walking forward after November 23 means walking with intention. It means listening to the subtle promptings of your spirit. It means recognizing when heaven is pulling you forward and when heaven is telling you to wait. It means allowing your growth to guide you rather than your fear. It means understanding that destiny is no longer ahead of you. It is unfolding under your feet with every step you take. You are not returning to ordinary life. You are entering a life saturated with purpose. Your days will feel different. Your nights will feel different. Your vision will stretch. Your endurance will deepen. Your connection to God will strengthen. You will begin to notice blessings appearing that match the internal work you've done. And Scripture speaks into this new season with strength and promise, as written in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. You have stood the test. You have endured the pressure. You have walked through the valley. You have survived the stretching. You have embraced the refining. Chosen one. Take a breath and feel the weight of everything your spirit has just walked through. You did not arrive at this moment by accident. Every word you heard was part of a divine thread weaving clarity, strength, and direction into your journey. You are no longer the version of yourself who began this message. You are steadier, clearer, more aligned with heaven's movement in your life. As you step forward from here, carry these truths with you. You are chosen. You are protected. You are guided. And you are becoming everything God has whispered over your life. Let these revelations continue to echo inside you in the days to come. And if this journey has spoken to the deepest parts of you, if you felt seen, strengthened, lifted, or awakened, then let this be a moment of mutual gratitude. Like this message so it can reach another soul who needs what you've found. Share it with someone whose spirit deserves clarity. Leave a comment with your reflection, your testimony, or even a single line from your heart. Your voice carries power. And subscribe, so you never miss the next message heaven sends your way. Chosen one, walk forward with your head lifted. Your next chapter has already begun.